Appreciate y'all being here and coming to these sessions because we do these for y'all, and I'm really happy that we can. And I've seen a lot of y'all at a lot of these different sessions, and it's just great to see repeat faces and new folks at the same time. But I'm glad that y'all enjoyed these, or at least I have the perception you did because you kept coming back. So that's good. Well, for the second to last time today, my name is Ray Apollo. I'm community marketing manager at Twitch, and I manage all of the Creator Camp education here at Twitch. And I would love for the two folks next to me to introduce themselves before we start talking about community moderation tools and tips.
Hi everyone, my name is Smirky. I'm from NA. I am a Twitch partner and Twitch ambassador. When I get back home, it's going to be my 6-year partnerversary, by the way, in July. So pretty excited about that. I do a lot of variety gaming, charity streams, things like that, where I have my mod team pretty involved in a lot of the community activities that we do. So really excited to speak about how much my mods are bullying me.
Are you really a mod?
There must be a lot of mods here, actually, the way y'all laugh. That must be
A lot of mods in the room.
Hi, I'm Rob, or RSS. I'm a senior program manager on marketing, strategy, and operations team in charge of our planning, prioritization, and all things of what are we actually doing. I get to do a whole lot of making processes. It's fun. But my background prior to that was I was the program manager for creator support for the CX team at Twitch, and am a 10+ year community member and streamer, moderator for a bunch of channels, and longtime bullier of streamer. Hey, I got applause!
That means there's a lot of mods here, that's fine.
I bully Ray a lot, but I don't mod for that.
So I guess quick show of hands for me. How many of you guys are moderators in this room? All right. That's about as many as I expected, which is good. First of all, thank you very much. I appreciate and love all of y'all for doing what you do, because I'm telling you, y'all are what makes the difference for what makes Twitch what it is. So thank you for doing that, and also bullying your streamer. I appreciate it. It's great. So I'm trying to see, do we still have our microphones? Question mark?
I saw some other ones back there, yep.
Excellent. So we're going to talk, but we're going to talk with you. So if you have questions, we're going to make sure that these microphones are passed around for you to ask your questions about moderating or mods, because that's what this room is. It's Twitch Talks, not Twitch Listens. Well, I mean, it could be, but not really.
We listen.
I do, but I don't know about Twitch. So it's just me. Just me. Those, raise your hand. They will bring you a microphone. We will answer your questions to the best of our ability. So, but I guess to start with, so Smirky, I want to know from you first, when it comes to moderating your community and making sure that you have what they need, what was one of the first things that you needed to establish in terms of what moderators were for your community?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just take a look at your chat rules first and foremost, like look at the guidelines that you have specifically for your community, and then kind of translating that to what your moderator rules are, essentially how things should be enforced, taking the time to make a separate Discord channel specifically for your mods or your staff, having designated meetings, and something that I haven't done but I've heard recently is someone that had a moderator manual, that a documentation that kind of outlines every little intricacy pretty much when it comes to what to do during this, what not to do. That's something I've heard a lot as well. So there's a lot of really good resources out there, and really not only do I learn from the experiences my community and my moderators have in our chat, but I also see how moderators are in other people's communities. How do other streamers behave with their moderators, aside from the bullying part? How do these moderators enforce actions? How do they communicate with one another internally, outside of the chat room when it comes to, talking about, decisions that might need to be made? So hopefully that all answers the question.
That did answer my question. So, RSS, I mean, you've had the opportunity to work with a lot of mods and be a mod yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, when moderating a channel, we all know that there are a multitude of things that can happen in a chat room because people are people and sometimes people are strange. But when it comes to making sure that moderating isn't just bad people. I mean, moderators are also part of the community. They are sometimes the first people that will engage with other folks in the community. And so why is it important that when, as a moderator, you're not just there literally as a sword?
Yeah, there's a couple of parts to that, I think. The whole badge what the badge of being a moderator in a chat represents is that you are somebody who embodies a part of that community. You have earned the trust of that broadcaster, and they're saying that this person is an extension of how I want my community to be. And so as a mod, you're not only taking enforcement actions and helping to make sure that a chat stays on the rails, but you're also an example of how the community is expected to act. Now, there is that little bit, we meme about bullying streamers, but that doesn't actually happen as much as I think people say it does. Because a lot more, you're there as somebody who is that one step closer to actually being what that streamer envisions for the stream itself and for the chat. And a lot of times you'll hear people say that chat is an extension of the streamer. I would also say that the moderators are an extension of what the streamer is and what the streamer's desires are. There are often people that have been there the longest. There are people that are the most active in the community. They're the people that you trust the most when you are a broadcaster. Because at the end of the day, they do have control to a degree of what happens on your channel. And so it's very important that you are getting people that you trust in that role, and you're not just handing it out all willy-nilly. It's actually one of the reasons why I was a big advocate internally, and I was really glad when we rolled out the VIP system and the VIP badge as opposed to the moderator badge, because there was a long time where you would get what we referred to as vanity mods. It was a way for a streamer to say, oh, this is an important person, I care about you. But then they have all these elevated permissions, and sometimes they might think that they have these elevated expectations. And so the VIP badge was a great way to be able to say, you are somebody that's important and I don't expect you to do anything. But it also is a signal to the rest of the community, like, hey, this is somebody that I value. And so having that distinction, I think, is really great, and is a way to continue to allow that to show up. But long story short, it's an extension of the community, and it's an example to the community. So while we do bully, it's also nice and good to make sure that you're setting a good example when you're in the stream.
All right. Well, now it's your turn. So, like I said, go ahead, if you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand so they can bring the microphone over to you. And then we're just going to go from there.
It's on the way.
Yes, the dreaded walk of microphone.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so my question was, how would there be any, I'm trying to
It's okay, take
word
your
it
time.
out. How would you set any parameters for yourself to choose someone that will be suitable to moderate your stream?
That is a very individual question.
It is a very important question.
But it's a very important one.
Ask themselves, yes.
Yeah, I mean, some people will set up a whole application process where that's how they vet their community members. So some people will have their own processes around that. For me, I just kind of actively, observe how community members are interacting with one another. Maybe sometimes they're, being helpful or just like a positive role model within my own community. And, I've never done the whole application thing. I've always actively looked for people that I can trust, in the sense of this might be someone that could be a good fit to, step into this new role of, kind of overseeing our community and its guidelines. So from an individual perspective, that's kind of how I've been doing it, but I know that application processes can be beneficial for other creators, and that's cool too.
I mean, so when it comes to when I look for moderators, or if I'm adding new moderators, is to genuinely I ask myself 3 questions: do I know this person? Do I trust this person? Do they know how to use a computer?
That's important.
And
I'm a computer.
no, yeah, stop all the downloading. Anyway,
I just wanted to download more RAM.
Don't go to that website.
You get it. And so for me, it's those 3 things are very important, because if I trust you, that means you already understand how my community works for the most part, and what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with. And then, when I say if you use a computer, I mean, moderating is not an easy thing to just be doing, especially if you don't know what you're doing. There's a lot of accidental things that can happen. I guess I'll tell the story now, because remember when Shield Mode came out? Yeah. I mocked for a few of my friends.
Did you do a dumb?
I did it.
No.
I mocked for a few of my friends, and I was like, "Hey y'all, what's going on?" And I hadn't actually done anything in chat, but I got in and I hit there was a button that said, "Hey, Shield Mode's out," and I was like, "Okay, well I'm gonna click OK." And guess what? Shield Mode came on immediately, and everybody's like, "What is happening?"
Knock it down.
I was like, what happened there? But
Shut it down.
It snitches on you, and it tells you exactly who did it in chat. And I had typed in chat, they go, "Well, I guess Ray's here." So when I say that, hopefully somebody who knows what they're doing said they can also read, which I can't. So that matters to me a lot, because I don't want anybody to make any mistakes that embarrass themselves, even though I'm completely fine with embarrassing myself. But
So we shouldn't make Ray Apollo a moderator.
well, you could if you like chaos. It's fine. So
There's a reason Ray's not a mod in my channel.
it's true. It's true. But no, it's just so that's why I feel like it's important based on what you value when it comes to picking a moderator. I would never just pick somebody because you feel like they'd be. I mean, yeah, this person's probably a good mod for somebody else. That means they're not going to be good mod for you, maybe. So it's just, I think choosing your mods is one of the most important things in terms of vetting people that you should be doing. Because again, they do have a lot of elevated privileges that most people do not get outside of you as the person who is streaming. So yeah, just be careful.
Because the main thing I've seen in the past with other friends of mine who are streamers and bigger streamers than me is that they mod people that are friends with in IRL or just are friends with, and I've seen that in multiple cases come back to bite them in their ass.
It can. For me, the first people that were mods in my channel were my brother and some friends that I knew in real life, because again, there's that level of trust. Now, can friendships change? Absolutely. Can moderators change? Absolutely. People will grow and evolve and mature, demature, whatever you want, become more immature over time, and values will change. And that's why it's always good to keep an eye on that list, and if somebody's not working as a moderator, you can have that conversation with them. They don't have to stay a moderator. And one of the great things I'll also say, if you're a moderator of a channel and for whatever reason you don't feel like you're vibing there anymore, you can just unmod yourself. You have that ability as an individual. If you're feeling like this isn't a responsibility I think I really want in this channel right now, that's totally okay. You should not feel obligated to always do that. But my last bit of suggestion here is add moderators when it is evident you need them. Don't just add moderators for the sake of adding them, because it can also get overwhelming as a community member if you come in and you see, I've seen it mentioned a bunch of times, wall of swords.
The sea of green.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be overwhelming as a community member to come in and just see a bunch of green. And for those of you who are Incredibles fans, when everybody is super, nobody is. And so when everyone's a mod, there's no one to actually take care of it. So just be careful about, as you're adding people, and add them intentionally. And sometimes it's, again, okay to remove folks. It's not always a for everything.
No capes.
No capes.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sparky, do you have anything you want to edit? Sparky, do you want to add anything?
No.
All right.
All good.
All right, do we have any other questions with the microphones? All right,
Yes.
yeah. They're getting you up, and then there's one back there. So we have this microphone needs to go up there, and since you won the microphone relay, sorry, you get to go.
What are tools or services or like besides ModSU that you recommend moderators use? Any tips or tricks?
So I usually mine are more process based. I usually do a check-in with my mods before I stream, which is 2 people now, which is mostly now just a text, "Hey, you up?" Not for that. It's time to stream. So that way they know that I am streaming first and foremost. But that way
Surprise.
yeah, basically it's not a surprise. Usually the text does come an hour before the stream, and that's my bad. But it's just talk to your mods. Then also I make sure they have at least a copy of all the commands that I have. It's usually a document, so they don't have to remember them. And then Smirk brought up earlier, we learned from, because we did a mod appreciation day creator camp on the actual creator camp site, where Gucci the mod talked about how they have worked on moderator manuals for certain streamers, where they have basically everything a mod for a channel should know in this spot, so you don't have to remember everything, because let's be real, mods in some cases, or most cases, are volunteers, and so I'm not going to expect you to know every single thing that I have. So if it's in a manual or a document from somebody, amazing, because that's you showing that you respect this person in their time as well. So yeah, mine's mostly process based. I don't know, do y'all have any like tools that you would recommend folks use outside of Twitch?
One that I used for a long time when I was moderating a bunch of streams. This has been a long time. So there are third-party sites that you can utilize, or third-party applications like Chatty, which will allow you to be in a bunch of chats and handle things at the same time. But I actually really like ModView. ModView has been one of the best additions that I think we've added to the site. It's a way for you to actually see a bunch of the information and modularly change what you need in terms of what's visible, what's not visible. That's where unban requests can be had. The most recent tool that we added that I think is super cool is the warning system.
Yes.
I don't know if folks have actually checked that out in here, but it's one of the coolest things, because you want to educate before you're punitive in a lot of instances. And that's a way that you can now do that either anonymously as a mod, which is great, because that way you aren't getting targeted for hate, which we love.
Yep.
And we don't want you to open y'all up to abuse, because you don't deserve any of it. But we also want to make sure that people are educated, and we can give someone that chance to course correct before you have to take punitive action. And so that's one of the cool things for me. ModView is a big one. There are third-party sites that you're in and applications that you can use, but your mileage may vary.
Yeah, no, ModView, sometimes there are bots you can use to kind of, automatically putting commands or on timers, so like your moderators you don't have to always ask your moderators to do it, so you can sort of kind of lighten the burden on them a little bit with just like designated timers that go off every certain intervals. That's one thing I can think of as well.
I forgot a really important one, auto mod.
Yeah.
Make sure that you check out auto mod. And actually, as Ray mentioned, shield mode, when it is used properly, well, is great. They're fantastic tools. They are tools that came out, unfortunately, out of necessity, because there are bad people that are on the internet. And the really unfortunate thing is, bad people have a lot of free time, and more free time than we do. And there are a lot more of them, unfortunately, at times. And so it's really important to take a look at those tools and make sure that you're protecting yourself and your community. And as a moderator, there's a lot that you can do to help support that as well. You can, if a moderator has been given the permission, they can add terms to block lists for auto mod.
Yes.
They can set things for shield mode, which will do things like turn off alerts. So if you're using the first-party Twitch alerts, which I will use as a time to plug that, you can do things like shield mode will turn off alerts automatically. So that way, alerts aren't going onto the stream. You're blocking that before it's happening. You can shut down, in a really great way there. And the other one that is in there in mod mode that I really appreciate is the bulk reporting tool. So if you have follow bots or view bots or anything like that, you have a hate raid, which does happen unfortunately, you can ban accounts and then in bulk report all of them or just a handful of them. And particularly when it comes to bot accounts, it's very useful to actually submit a bulk report like that, because it allows our teams internally to then look at those accounts, look for patterns, and actually try to take care of them proactively, so we can prevent them from attacking somebody else.
Yeah, and then I think this is in the realm of moderation as well. I've definitely been able to use like shared ban info a lot of the times in my chat, and like collaborating with other creators to like automatically, essentially like if someone were to enter my chat that was banned in my friends community, then in the chat it'll highlight for myself, and I can set it to my mods as well, that like this person is marked as a suspicious user because they were banned for X reason, so you might want to just like keep an eye on this specific user.
Yeah, shared bands, shared band lists, and shared mod comments are awesome.
Yeah.
I used to do that via Google spreadsheets between people. I had a couple for a team that I used to support as a moderator. I was a moderator a bunch of different channels, and we had a policy like you add it to the band list, and that list is then shared with other moderators and other channels, and so you could get an idea of like, okay, what did this person do? Why did they do it? Who banned them? All right, we're gonna take action here as well. And now that's just part of the actual first-party platform, and it's great.
So I will say, quick question, this is for y'all. How many of y'all that are also streamers, when was the last time you updated Automod? If it was recently, raise your hand for me.
Quite a few.
Quite a few, which is a little less than I like. I mean, no, it's just because like Automod genuinely is something I feel like everybody should be using because it can be tuned to actually be assisting your mods, which is also great. So I definitely encourage you at some point here in the near future to go in and look at those Automod settings and like genuinely tweak them, mess with them, learn a little bit more about it because it is worth your time because it'll help save you and your mods some time potentially. And now with that, we're actually going to take this man's question who I made wait for so long. So I'm very sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you for your patience.
When it comes to moderating for two communities that have a completely different vibe, create different types of content, and cater to maybe a different audience, like maybe one might be say-so, one might be not so say-so, if you know what I'm talking about. Do you ever feel a sense of like alienation or that it was hard to get used to mod for like a completely different community to one that you originally have gotten used to? Especially if the latter community that you've just recently sort of gotten into might have one or two bad eggs.
I can jump in on this.
Go for it.
First off, I want to say your mic use is immaculate. I was really impressed. That was just crystal clear. I really enjoyed that. Yes, the short answer is yes. That will happen, and it's unfortunate because you will want to take action, and they might be more lenient, or you might not, and they might say, no, I really want you to take action, and it's a learning curve, and it's one that you then have to decide if it jives with your value system as a moderator. Just because you've been added as a moderator doesn't mean you have to stay one. You might think like, oh yeah, this is a community that I vibe with and I think that I could support and I think I would do really well in. But you can get in there and you say, and they're like, oh no, wait, hold on. I don't want you to take out this, slang or, this action in this situation. You can have a discussion at that point with the team, with the streamer, like, hey, here's why I feel like it's something that we should be doing. If that's not jiving, that's totally fine. At the end of the day, it is the streamer's decision, and you're just acting as an extension of those decisions and of those desires. But if it, at the end of the day, doesn't really fit with how you feel it should be handled, there's no shame in saying, you know what, I don't think I'm going to be the right fit for this. I'm going to take a step back, and you may end up deciding to still be a part of the community. You may end up not, and that's okay. Again, it's all going to be where you fit, and hopefully that kind of stuff has been figured out ahead of time, and it isn't a huge deal, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess I just have to tweak how my brain works when I'm moderating here versus here. But it's a lot of context switching if you're doing it for a bunch of channels simultaneously. It's really challenging to do, and it comes with practice, but yeah, it does happen for sure.
That's what I was basically going to say, so.
No comment from me, but fantastic question.
Thank you.
All right, what was the next microphone? Way back there somewhere?
Hi.
Hello, hi, I can't see you, but I know you're back there.
I can see you.
Yes.
Hi. So I had a question about the warning thing. I heard about it from my friend and I was like, oh wow, that's a thing. But if you're on mobile, you actually can't click the accept thing. So people on mobile can't click it and then they just get timed out. Or
That sounds like an
can't chat anymore. So
We might, actually, that's something I actually want to have looked into. So, if you could, let's sidebar afterwards for sure, because I'd like to know more. Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
My friends was telling me about it, and that I thought I'd bring it up because you were talking about how good it is, and I was like, oh, but I remember that little thing.
Hey, sometimes it's them little things. So thank you for saying something. So yeah, let's talk about that afterwards for sure.
Sure.
Deal. Thank you. All right. Where'd the other microphone go?
Hello.
Oh, another person I can't see.
To the left.
Oh, there you are. Whew. All right.
Sorry, I'm kind of short.
No, it's just it's been that long of a day. Let me tell you.
I didn't get the height package when I
Oh.
was born, unfortunately, so you're just going to have to deal with
I
it.
got it. Don't worry.
My question is, as a woman on stream, I find myself opening myself up to potential negative people, both as a streamer and as a moderator. Are there any tips and tricks as a streamer that you want to encourage your chat to help protect the community, especially mods? Because even though I have a sword and I have the ability to ban, get rid of anything, it seems as if it still can potentially be a dangerous environment, especially whispers and people just feeling the need to come into my whispers and just say things when I am not open to having a conversation.
So, as a man of color who streams on Twitch as well, you can bet that I've had my fair share of people who've had some really interesting things to say for no reason, by the way. And when it comes to stuff like this, I'm like, we're extra vigilant. Don't get me wrong, and when I talked about AutoMod earlier, I cranked AutoMod all the way up, and it has helped us a lot with a lot of the riffraff, to be completely honest with you. So it's stuff that we don't have to deal with no more, that AutoMod just does take care of, which is great. But it's one of those things where, yeah, a lot of folks they're bad actors because they're just bad actors. It's like there's no, and when I say that we just kind of have to be on 11 sometimes, we just got to be on 11 sometimes, because that's just, unfortunately, the space that these folks are in. But I will say, with the new tools that Twitch has, it has made my life easier in terms of dealing with those folks and not having to deal with those things. So I definitely say to use those tools that we have available to you to the best of their ability, because they do work and they do learn. AutoMod does learn over time, which is great, and it's been very helpful. I know to me and my mods for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've also cranked AutoMod all the way up, especially throughout Pride Month for our community. And I would say that, having that conversation with your mods, especially before seasonal celebrations, making sure they're on the same page that, hey, you will see these things come in because AutoMod flags stuff, and then a moderator has to go in and review it. So just kind of having that conversation, is this something with your team that you are okay with seeing, because I really need your support right now, and if that's not something that you're okay with taking on, then I kind of need to know that. So establishing that communication up front is something that I can think of, at least.
Yeah, for sure. I'll say, as a moderator and as a streamer, you do not need to have your whispers enabled.
Nope.
There is nothing that, whispers are great, they're an awesome system, but there's at no point a need for you to have them on.
I ain't never got nothing good in a whisper.
So I will say, at the first thing that I will always advocate for streamers, for moderators, is protect your mental health, because that is the most important thing above anything else. And if for whatever reason you are finding that you are unable to handle something as a moderator, if something is particularly triggering, something is particularly stressful, communicate that and take a step away. There's no shame in that. Make sure that you are taking care of you first and foremost. And if the streamer doesn't get that, that's on them. And that's something that you should really be considering, again, protecting yourself. So that's part one. Part two, the blocked list, the blocked terms list in AutoMod is going to be the godsend, because that prevents anyone from ever having to see those messages. If it's a blocked term, it doesn't go in for review. It just goes into a black hole and it is never seen by anyone. So make sure that you're utilizing that as well to help protect yourself. and I believe that does work on whispers, but don't hold me to that. So that's the real parts of it, is take the steps that you need to protect yourself. Make sure that you aren't opening yourself up more than you need to. That's why I actually think the warning system is so great, is because it doesn't require you to whisper somebody. It doesn't require you to communicate directly with them. It's a system that says, hey, this is the rule that you have broken. You can either accept it and come back, or you can not and get out. And it's a way to protect you as a moderator, you as a streamer, and protect your community. Does that answer what you're looking for?
It does. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, and again, take care of you. That's the most important thing.
It's true. None of this happens without you, y'all. So we got a few hands. All right.
Yeah, but I have.
You have the microphone.
You want that? Okay.
So first of all, I'm a streamer and I love moderators. I love them so much that my first and only tattoo is on my left cheek, but mods with a heart.
That's against TOS. I'm gonna moderate that right now.
No. Twerking emote's illegal, baby.
I will not show it, but yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Now, my question is related, kind of. How to reward I know how. I mean, I paid with my body, but how to reward mods?
He didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, exactly. They're doing so much, but I know that for my channel they want to support. I mean, they usually sub, but sometimes they can't. And when they can't, I do sub for them. But when I can't, they don't have the emote. So I think that Twitch should allow mods, or else we riot, to have the same privilege as tier 1, for example, in terms of emotes and things.
I can definitely understand that sentiment. I will say, for a suggestion like that, user voice is going to be a really great place to take it. But I'm going to poke a small hole in it, and I'm going to be a bit of a wet blanket, so I'm sorry. What is to prevent you from just giving it out to everybody and giving everybody access then?
The money. Everybody, the money.
Sure, but so there is that. So I'm just saying, like, I agree that there need to be ways to reward moderators. I'm with you 100%, and I think there are ways that we can go about doing that, and I think that that's something that we can be thinking about as a platform. So I'm not saying that we're not going to do nothing.
Yeah, even mods only emotes.
I'd be down for that. That'd be so
And this is in my ignorance, of course. We don't have a cap on moderators.
Nope.
You problem solved.
I don't know if that's true. But
I don't know, but
anyway,
I'm just saying.
But it is a complex problem that I agree should be solved. Ways that I have seen other people actually reward their moderators that I think have been really cool, and this is, again, not feasible for everyone. These are just things that I've seen people do. They've had it where a portion of tips that they get will go to their moderators or go to a pool for their moderators for things like, I've seen someone do a Starbucks gift card for them, and it's one of those things like, if you need to go grab a cup of coffee, everybody from the mod team has access to that card. They can go and use it, and they can buy themselves a cup of coffee, something like that. Or there are ways that you can do giveaways. There are ways that you can do other rewards. So that there are systems outside of Twitch even, but I do also see the value in what you're saying of ways to reward them on platform, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Please submit that in user voice. I'm serious.
Yes.
Then share with everybody in this room, because I'm sure they'll all upvote it, won't you?
Ray is the biggest advocate for user voice. I think that exists.
I am large.
It's true.
All right, I saw the microphone go. Go.
So another question is the use of a third-party chatbot, moderation chatbot like Nightbots or any others like them, do they still have value in terms of moderation, or is Automod now good enough to replace those entirely?
I mean, from my standpoint, I feel like they're still valid, still very useful. It's just that Twitch has their own on the platform that doesn't necessarily have the same abilities, because it's like Automod is essentially just that. It's an Automod and not a chatbot. Does that make sense? So I still feel like there's definitely value there for those, for sure. What do you guys feel about that?
I'll admit that I haven't utilized chatbots recently for moderation purposes, so I'm not going to be as up to date, but Twitch is never going to have everything that's going to be perfect. What's great about the ecosystem that we've allowed in terms of our developers that work with us and alongside us is they can actually go and do things that we hadn't really considered. And so there's always value in going and exploring what is available in those systems and seeing what works for you. And if it works, awesome, absolutely use it, and then throw it on user voice so we can think about it ourselves. But there's nothing to stop you from utilizing both. So by all means, go for them. There's totally value.
Yeah, I utilize both. Sometimes Nightbot is like quick to the draw on some things before even Automod flags it, and that's with Automod set at the highest settings from my experience.
In addition, would you have any suggestions for third-party chatbots that you personally use or have had the best experience with?
I really only use Nightbot or Stream Elements. I know like a lot of people use like Seribot as well, I think it is.
Seribot is the only other one I've heard of that people use.
I use Fossabot, which is
I don't even know what that means.
It's developed by a person on the safety engineering.
Yeah, that's right. So there are a lot of different chatbots. There's a lot of them.
I remember a lot of people using MooBot as well back in the early Twitch days.
Yep, MooBot was very good.
Now I remember Hydrate Bot. Rest in
They
peace.
Hydrated Bot.
So,
Oh, thanks, Ray. Thanks for looking out for us.
so the best would just be to look at the bots and pick one that best fits you.
Yeah.
And then get to learn it or talk to somebody who knows how to use it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Probably find a lot of video guides on YouTube as well.
Plenty, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hi. I was wondering, do you have any tips for dealing with people in chat who aren't necessarily breaking a rule, but really aren't fitting the vibe that you want in chat, beyond just using the warning system, because I have given that a go?
Gotcha. Well, thank you for trying the warning system. I appreciate that. That's not me saying it as a person. No, I'm like, for real, thank you for trying it. Trying new stuff is important. That's tricky, because you know how we are. These are our spaces. And so you get to decide what stays and what does not in your space. And if these people are messing up the vibes in your space, I mean, is it worth having them around? You know what I'm saying? Because if I have somebody who's coming into our space and it's making it awkward for the folks who are there already, and me, nah, it's not worth it. It's really not. I mean, if you've given them the warnings, you've done your due diligence, in my mind. You've done it. You've just like, hey, cut it out. Like, or, you know, just for real, this is, quit it. And if they continue, nah, they don't actually want to be there. They're just there to cause trouble, for attention, probably. So that's how I feel about it. But how would you do?
Yeah, it's not always comfortable to put your foot down, but I've had to put my foot down on many occasions, and I am that like positive, like outgoing streamer, yes, but
you are.
yes, but that doesn't always mean that I am not afraid to, you know, lay down the law of the land, so, for lack of a better terms, in order to make sure that I'm protecting my peace and the peace of my community.
Yeah, if you've explained yourself and you said, yo, hey, this isn't fitting the vibe, you know, I appreciate you being here, but this might not be the best fit for you. If they escalate, if they continue to act in the same way, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to protect this space. Give them time out if you need to. Say, hey, try back in another day. They come back and it's a repeated thing. They said, all right, now we're escalating and we're getting to the point where you're not welcome here. And this is not going to be the community for you. And that's okay. Like, that's the beauty of Twitch, is that there are so many communities. And just like I was saying, you know, protect yourself in terms of your mental, protect your community. Just because it doesn't violate a specific rule doesn't mean you can't still take action. Protect yourself and protect the community.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's a good way to like learn and refine your own guidelines as well, I will add, because, you know,
Yeah.
things change, rules can change, you can add, subtract, you know, so it's all learning experience.
That's why rules are made, because people do
Yes.
stuff we didn't expect the first time.
Right.
All right, where'd the other microphones go?
Right there.
Hello.
So I have a question. Outside of chatbots and obviously spreadsheets, are there any other tools that you recommend for modding that helped you in a particular way?
Yeah, again, I'll say Chatty, which is a third-party chat client, was one that helped me a lot, because it's was connecting directly at the time to the IRC client, which was allowing you to really set up specific pings. It allowed you to do things like set up keyword pings that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get from Twitch chat. There are other browser extensions that you can look at that people have utilized. I haven't looked at those recently, so I can't speak to them personally. But there are definitely third-party tools. I think Chatty was the one that I used the most, and I found the greatest effect with over time. Particularly when I was utilizing multiple streams and was a moderator in a bunch, I would just have it open, and I'd be kind of lurking in those streams. And I will say this, if you are utilizing a system like that and you are not actively watching the stream, you will not count as a viewer, so just be aware of that. You have to actually be watching a stream.
So mine isn't necessarily like a mod tool, but I usually recommend, if they don't, snipping tool. That all my mods use that because it's real quick for grabbing a screenshot of something was happening, so that we have evidence of it for then if they ask for more later on when we file a report, if we have to. So that's just one thing to have just in case, because it's real easy to grab that screenshot with this different tool. So that's the one like I think extra tool that I have them use, but that's really it for me. How are you?
I guess I've sometimes had to like use some of the commander root tools.
Actual stuff.
Like if like follow bots and hate rates are coming in, I've had to definitely do a clean sweep through that tool. So that's one I can think of to shout out.
I will give a warning with that particular one. Be very.
I saw that coming.
Disclaimer.
Be careful with those because it is a very hammer to do what you need to potentially do with a scalpel. So just be very careful with what you are doing with something like that, because I have seen people reach out saying, I have wiped my entire following.
Yes. If you are not paying attention to what you're clicking or what you're hovering over, you can do a little more or a lot more than you intended to do. So I've had to very carefully navigate that.
Yeah, but there are values to them, but that's again why I also recommend utilizing the bulk report tool, because the bulk report tool allows us to then go and find those bot waves and actually ban them, and that would then remove them from the follower count. So that way you're not having to worry about that. It just happens naturally. Yes, it sucks to see the number go down at a random point, but it's a way that we are vetting, at least on our side, and can say, yes, these are bots.
All right. Well, hey, we're getting close to the end of time, so let's see if we can get through a few more pretty quick.
Hi. So assuming, no one's perfect, and a streamer you moderate for breaks his own rules a couple times and is not particularly easy to contact when he's streaming. Sorry to be a bit specific. It's not about anything.
I mean, that's why we do this. Like, it's fine.
How would you approach the situation like with the chat if he's breaking his own rules?
Do as I say, not as I do.
I mean, you laugh, but it's like, yeah, I mean, they made you a mod for a reason, right? So, like, if you're the ones who's going to actually follow their rules and enforce their rules, unless they're telling you, hey, why are you enforcing those rules? Well, okay. So, I mean, I can understand why they'd be like, well, should I do this? Because they're the one that's doing exactly what they tell us to have people not do. So that's I feel like that's a choice for you. But I feel like in that situation, if I'm the mod and they made me a mod, I'm there to do what they asked me to do in the first place, unless they tell me otherwise.
Yeah, and it becomes a conversation afterwards as well, which is why I think the point of having like a Discord space or a way to have conversations exclusively with the streamers, like, hey, this happened. We weren't able to necessarily get in contact with you. How would you like us to approach this in the future? What would you like us to do? And they may not even realize that they were doing it, and they're like, oh, that's not bad, and go from there. So
that sounds like something I would have said. Yeah, you're right. That's my bad. So I hope that at least helps to get you to formulate something for that as well. So
yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We have time for another one?
Yes.
Okay, as it was discussed in the TwitchCon that mobile experience is more important now. Regarding mobile moderating, what view is the next step?
Don't you ask for Android mod view, don't you do it.
I already checked it. Okay, the question is, do you want to integrate polls and predictions? Because like on the mobile, it's not possible except if you're using a browser and in desktop mode.
Right.
I would say I can't speak to what our roadmap looks like on that front.
I can't either right now.
I would be surprised if it isn't on the roadmap, but I can't speak to anything.
So what I will say is pay attention to patch notes, because that's what we talk about that stuff for sure. And if it's something that you're really passionate about, put it in user voice with our friend over here, and then we'll see what happens. Because I mean, we do check those. They read user voice for a reason. Like honestly, it's the best place to give like genuine feedback. So I know that's not the best answer, but that's what I can give you right now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right, we got time for exactly one more. Who was next?
I would say you had your hand up earlier.
Yeah. All right.
Just shout it out.
Now, I'm a streamer. I'm just wondering from a moderator's perspective, is there something the streamer does that's a big no-no or just a pet peeve?
So the question for those of you who can hear it is, as a streamer, is there something that they do as a streamer that is a big no-no from the moderator's point of view, and what can we be doing about that, basically?
I mean, in my mind, it's the streamer directly going against the rules that they set for their channel. It's like, because at that point, you need to reassess your rules. Like you said earlier, it's time to change the rules, because if you're not following them, how are we going to keep this house clean?
It's like instead of auto mod checking you, it's like your mods checking you. It's like mod check, basically.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is just be open to feedback from the mods, because again, if they are somebody that you have trusted to take care of your community, if they're giving you feedback, it's because they want the community to thrive in that way, and it's a conversation at that point, and it's something that you may take or you may not take, but I think it's worth reflecting and being open to that.
Yeah, maybe when you have like a staff space in your Discord, maybe consider having like a designated space for moderators to give feedback to you, the streamer. Maybe that could be a great space for moderators to feel comfortable giving positive and or negative feedback.
We're over time and we're late, Ray.
Oh, we'll be fine. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming to this last
This is
Twitch Talk
great.
session.
You're
You
all
guys are
great.
wonderful. Again, moderators, you're incredible. Thank you. And with that is our last Twitch Talk session of Rotterdam. Oh God.
Rotterdam.
I'm so tired. I don't live here.
This man.
You're all great. Where are we going next year for TwitchCon Europe?
The same place right here.
Yes.
Yeah. We're coming back. So thank y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. And I guess I'll see you next year. Here.
Bye. Thank you.